Welcome back. I'm here with Bob Coffey. He's here from House District 30, and we're going to be talking for the remaining 7-8 minutes there. We covered a little bit on the education there, and you're pretty informed on a lot of the subjects, a lot more than most people. But you're an educator, you're teaching, you said constitutional law, what were you teaching there?
Well, that's one of the classes I've taught, yeah.
And then there was another...
I'm a special ed gifted teacher.
Yeah. So we were talking about the high school dropout situation there and stuff. We're coming into higher education. Mm-hmm. The lottery scholarship made a huge difference. And I'm not sure if it's going to be phased out or not. You hear things from individuals sometimes to legislate that the will is not there. Mm-hmm. I think there is some resistance there as far as expenditure and stuff, and maybe the taxpayers are not wanting to support it anymore. What are your thoughts on the higher education as far as if you were to change anything, would we change anything as far as lottery scholarship? We wouldn't change that, right?
No, absolutely not. We have to continue the lottery scholarship. It's worked for so many of my students that I have seen personally throughout my teaching career. It's positively impacted their lives and their families' lives. Should we make the requirements harder to maintain that lottery scholarship? Maybe. With a certain GPA and a certain course load, we'd have to look at those formulations, probably every time the issue comes up for review.
But overall, I mean, there's 90,000 that received recipients, I think 30,000 graduates from the lottery scholarship. So I think it's a big deal to New Mexico. Yeah. And I think it helps a lot of the students.
Yes.
I also have 2 kids going to college, and I always bring that up whenever I talk about lottery scholarship and things like that.
Yeah.
As far as higher education, you feel that we're pretty much on track with the neighboring states and stuff. Is there something that you would like to see different in the higher education?
Well, I was just reading today that UNM, for example, has 10 top 10 graduate programs in the United States for Hispanic scholars. Mm-hmm. And we have, I think we have a wonderful system here in the state of a state so big, too, of having institutes of higher learning where students have access to continue their careers and their passions. I think we're very fortunate in that regard, and I would continue supporting higher level education every way that I can.
I always think that in order for us to get successful students in higher education, we need to focus in the high school.
Okay.
As far as educating them and what they're looking forward to and stuff. And it comes back to that mentoring thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
Talking to some younger generation, I see that they're either, I don't mean to say misguided, but there's a lack of information there, a lack of motivation there in some cases. You will know more because you deal with a lot of that age group. What age groups do you deal with in as far as they're all like high school?
For years and years, it was juniors and seniors. Recently, last couple of years, it's 9 through 12. I even have a group of 8th graders for the last couple of years that will come over from Wilson to take courses because they're accelerating their credits, accelerating their math in particular.
As far as we were talking about the high school dropouts and all that, the rates are, they've been pretty same for a long time. I've seen them go up and down. Whenever we get individuals from like the fire department and the police department, I always tell them, I think you guys need to be involved a little bit more with the kids. That way, they know what it's like to be a firefighter or a lawyer or what have you. And I don't think they receive very much of that. Do you feel they receive that in the high school level?
So like mentoring programs?
I
think it's pretty good. I actually teach a mentorship class, and many of my students will go and say work with an architect or work with you and learn how to work in a studio, learn how to interview and stuff like that. And what's cool about that in so many ways that they might go, I don't ever want to work with an architect, but I really enjoyed this experience. And so the mentoring serves so many different purposes, job skills, but also gives kids opportunities to explore the real world and how their education then will benefit from them. So if they want to go and they see that they want to be an architect, they're going to study more math and they're maybe art history and maybe take more challenging courses to get to that goal. So I think it's absolutely necessary that we have more mentorship and internship possibilities at our public
Communities,
schools.
I think, need to come together to look at this factor of dropouts and early childhood. And I think it comes down to eventually how we all behave as adults towards our future generations, because they're the ones that how do they react to the U.S. Constitution? I'm just curious, when you bring up the U.S. Constitution, what are their reaction like? Do you always start with the basics, we the people, and then you take it from there and how it's formed? And founding fathers. And
once kids start really understanding what's happening with the U.S. Constitution, its history, its philosophy, its significance in our daily lives, they really start tuning in to what's happening around the world and within our country. It's an amazing thing to see kids. The light bulbs just kind of boom, 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 boom,
so
going
off.
off.
The founding fathers and who wrote the Declaration of Independence. And
I almost always start with state of nature philosophy and our friends John Locke and Thomas Hobbes, and get into political philosophy, and kids start thinking, oh, okay, there's this thing, natural rights, and there's this thing, classical republicanism. What does all this mean? And then we move into the founding of the Constitution and history around the founding of the Constitution and the issues, and we move into contemporary issues.
So do you see a lot of interest there as far as them wanting to learn about the founding fathers and the Constitution?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's geared towards the early, the discovery of this Constitution rather than going into the.
Well, the program that I was involved in, and our team was placed in the top 10 in the nation last year, by the way. Highland Hornets was only Title I school to do that at a very demanding and prestigious competition. The kids studied everything from early colonial policy to whether or not we should examine revising the Second Amendment, or constitutional applications of the Second Amendment. So from history to contemporary times, we covered a wide variety of topics.
Interesting. I didn't have that when I went to Highlander, so I was curious in how you brought that in. So that was many years ago, though. It was 1980, so it was a long time ago. Well, thank you for coming in. We're out of time here. We'll wish you the best, and come back and see us.
Well, thank you. You're very welcome.
Thank you, sir.
It was
a pleasure having you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And we're out of time. We'll see you next time. Thank you.